Hello, Andy Poole, weight loss coach here with another general coaching tip as part of a video series I'm creating. Now, in a previous video I explained the comfort zone dynamic and how it affects our lives, and today I'm going to explain the 5-stage fantasy cycle as created by the writer Christopher Booker. Now, the 5 stages of the fantasy are dream, anticipation, reality, frustration and nightmare, and it works like this. Stage 1 is the dream or fantasy stage. This is that moment when the very first spark of an idea comes to you and it worms its way into your consciousness. Your fantasy is all about the end result and your enthusiasm is driven by that perceived outcome. Stage 2 is the anticipation stage. Fueled by the image you had of the outcome, you decide to adopt the plan to achieve it, and you're in that heightened state of anticipation. You've seen what you want and you can't wait to get started on it. Then you have the reality stage. You've bought into the dream and the fantasy and are now presented with getting on with realizing that dream. You're full of enthusiasm and up and running. No longer is it a dream, it's here, you're living it and on the journey to the end result, and everything is rosy. But then comes the frustration stage. You bought into the fantasy, couldn't wait for the reality to start, and for a while it all looked to be going well. The trouble is it's not quite working out as planned. This wasn't how you saw it. Doubts and niggles start to creep in and you begin to sense that it isn't going the way you want it to. Frustration sets in as you seem unable to change the way things are going. And this can only lead to the nightmare stage, for want of a better term, when everything falls apart, stage 5. So where did it all go wrong? You had a clear idea of what you wanted, you were enthusiastic about trying to achieve it, and you thought you were doing the right thing, so why didn't it happen? The 5-stage, that was my dog by the way shaking her head, the 5-stage cycle is complete and you're left disappointed, disenchanted and feeling you've been here many times before, as it applies to most things that we do in our lives. Just think of a venture you started perhaps with high hopes, and did that go through this cycle? Think of a relationship you had, and did that go through this cycle? And it can even be a metaphor for life itself if you think about it. Well, it's all a bit depressing, isn't it? If that's how this cycle works, then whatever we do is wasted and we'll always end up in the same position. But hang on there. Fortunately for us all, the cycle isn't inevitable. And once you recognise how the cycle works and understand the mechanism for making sure it doesn't happen, you need never go through it again. So allowing for the fact that frustration will happen, as nothing is that perfect, you can go one of two ways from there, either on what seems like an inevitable path towards the nightmare stage, or you can go back to reality. If you've ever set goals using the acronym SMART, the R in there is for realistic, and when you create the dream and the fantasy, realism is given scant consideration, because fantasies aren't about reality, are they? They're about seeing things how you want them to be, not necessarily how they will be. But by being realistic about your dreams or fantasy, you should be back on track in the reality stage, or even in the dream and the anticipation again. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and if you have, then please subscribe to my channel to get further video coaching tips. I'll see you in the next one.